And so what kind of, like, where do you actually live? Like, do you live in just this ramshackle hut? Are you homeless and you just throw your kip down wherever you find a pillow?
I usually live with whatever band I'm playing with at the time. So, like, if one of them has housing, then I'll move in there.
I'm gonna put down crashes with bandmates.
Okay. Right now, I'm in Blackshade Lane.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, as an anarchist, you have no headquarters privileges in Sigil.
Right.
Are you a active member of an anarchist cell? Let's all be clear. Anarchists are basically the Taliban, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no, because every time that she's tried to work with other anarchists, like, she's found herself disillusioned at the hierarchy that forms.
Okay.
So right now she's not working with any cell.
Gotcha. Ciclon, where in Sigil do you live? Where's your kip? Now, you're a Godsman.
Yeah.
That means the Godsman headquarters is in the lower ward in the Great Foundry. The reason for that is the Great Foundry is where they create great things because there's potential in all things.
Mm-hmm.
So the Godsmen run the Foundry. What this means, as the member of the faction, you always have a home at the Foundry. If shit ever gets too real, you're always welcome at the Foundry as long as you're a member of the faction.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be your place of permanent residence, but if you're going to be very active inside of your faction, the lower ward might be a place to look. In fact, I think Salt Street is in the lower ward, wasn't it?
Is it? No, it's in the ladies' ward.
The ladies' ward.
There it is, right there. I'll always remember where Salt Street is. No, it'll probably be somewhere in the Foundry district, but like not. He's not really. He doesn't really associate himself too much with the faction. I mean,
So
the word. So he'd be kind of in the neighborhood of the Foundry.
Where do you actually live? Like, do you own a house?
He does he's the kind of guy that does odd jobs for families and that kind of stuff, and then crashes with them, then moves on.
Okay, so in the wind, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right, McDohl, where does your Aasimar live? Where's your residence in Sigil?
Well, a lot of these places, I don't know what a lot of them mean. So,
well, as a member of the Fated,
mm-hmm.
the Fated's headquarters, Hall of Records, I believe. Let me double check.
Sounds right.
Yeah, the Hall of Records, which is here in the Clerk's Ward. A lot of administrators and bureaucrats up here. So you get the same faction benefits here as the other McDohl gets in the Foundry. The difference being is they will not let you stay here because it's the Fated. They're not in the business of charity.
Sure. But there's Crystal Dew Lane right here, and that sounds wonderful.
Okay. Crystal Dew Lane.
I always wanted to live on a street called Crystal Dew Lane. I didn't know that until now.
It sounds like a lot of the streets where I used to live in Irvine, California.
No, those were way more bullshit.
So, do you have your own place? And what kind of place is it?
Well, like, do you mean in terms of like exuberance? Is it big? Is it small? Or
I mean, like, do you own a house? Do you rent a room in someone else's building?
Did you kill a guy and take their house?
I like the idea of killing a guy and taking their house.
So you found a house that you liked.
And decided I wanted it.
So who lived there before you?
That's some bureaucratic schmuck. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead.
So I'm going to write down Clerk's Ward, Crystal Dew Lane, some schmuck's house.
Some schmucks.
Does that sound right?
Well,
Yeah, that sounds
no,
right.
it's his house now.
Okay, formerly some schmuck's house.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, where does Serenity live in Sigil?
Hers not to live in Sigil, but I'm thinking she'd probably, since she is pretty much, more of a wilderness type, I'm thinking when she is in the city, she'll probably stay at the gymnasium.
Okay.
That's possible.
The gymnasium is the headquarters of the Cyphers, so you guys get faction benefits.
She's not going to be a permanent resident there because she doesn't expect to spend too much time in the city.
And that's very common among Cyphers. So the gymnasium has a lot of rooms for kind of Cyphers who are just transient in and out. All right. That was easy enough. And what about Mahogany?
One second here. I'm looking over in the area near the gymnasium because I wasn't sure where the faction place was. I'm thinking over here on Redwind Road, with convenient access to both the Gymnasium District and the Great Bazaar.
Nice. Now, does Mahogany have his own place?
Yeah.
Is it a
A
house?
smallish, it's a house that, it's completely unpainted.
Okay.
But when you, go up closer up, the, knots in the wood and some of the water damage has formed attractive shapes that you only notice when closer up. From far away, it looks like a wreck.
Did he build this house, or was this already here?
He built it.
He built it. All right. So Nick, your character is a spiv. Is that's just her primary profession? She's just an entertainer. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And same for a Ciclon, yes.
Yeah, more or less. He'll take work as a general and skilled labor, or when time comes around, being all friggin' hype and stuff in the arena.
There's no arena in Sigil, but there's a couple ways to make a living as a showman fighter. If you actually have aptitude
kind of
for performance, you might be able to. I mean, these are illegal, of course. The hardheads will crack down on them. Or you can go the other direction into the seedy underbelly, bare knuckle boxing type
Oh no,
things.
he's not like that. He's not like that at all.
So you stay out of the hive, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a pretty clear criminal elements to this, because it's really not legal to run around just fighting people in the street. But you and the rest of these showman fighters in Sigil, the Luchadors Guild, people like watching the shows you guys put on from time to time. It's hard to organize a lot of it, because if the hardheads catch wind of it, they crack down pretty hard. You can get away with a lot of that probably in the bazaar would be easy. Around the gymnasium and the fest hall, you could probably do it. Coming up into the ladies' ward and even the lower ward would be more difficult. And then if you go to the hive, it's going to be more like first blood, fight to the death kind of stuff. More like human dog fighting.
No, he wants none of that.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, McDohl, what is your character's profession? How do you make money? How do you afford this this nice house on Crystal Dew Lane? Because it's yours, but you still got to pay taxes and such on it.
Sure. Can he work at the Hall of Records? Is that a thing that he can do?
Oh, absolutely. You just
All
want
right.
to be like a low-level bureaucrat?
Yeah, low-level bureaucrat, where it allows him to fudge things around really easily.
Oh, okay. So you like to create little loopholes for yourself.
Yeah.
Killed a schmuck and took his job.
Is it fair to say then that you're not really looking to rise the ranks of the bureaucracy in the Hall of Records?
No, I can totally see him wanting to do that.
Okay. But is your primary source of income what they pay you for the job, or is your primary source of income the skimming you do on the side for yourself?
The skimming.
Now, do you also provide this service to other people in Sigil? Like, do you walk into a restaurant and say, hey, I can make your taxes go down 1% if you give me a little kickback, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and he's not beyond doing wet work either, if need be.
Wet work, okay. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
What was the last wet work job like?
Hold on. Come back to me. I think I'm onto something.
Okay. Let's go on to Serenity.
Serenity tries not to work in the city when possible, but when she does, she mostly functions as a guide to the more rural plains.
Okay, so you kind
Caravan guard, that sort of thing.
Sell your services out as a planner guide and caravan guard? So a lot of the work you get would be along trade routes in the outlands and whatnot. When you
and honestly, the other thing is, honestly, she doesn't necessarily work a lot because she can spend a lot of her time just foraging off the land.
And when she does that, where does she prefer to go?
Biopia, but sometimes she wants to push herself for a harder challenge, so she might go to some of the more, that's just, if she just wants a week off, she's just going to kind of go back to her home plane and bum around Shurok, but some of the rougher planes, like Beastlands, maybe.
So because you're in Biotopia so often, do you have... Where is this portal to Biotopia that you use most frequently?
It's inside a cave near one of the apexes where you can switch between layers.
I mean in Sigil.
Oh, in Sigil. I'm gonna say it's somewhere down in the hives. Not a fun place to go to.
Okay. An odd place for a portal to Biotopia, but not unheard of.
All right, Brick.
Okay.
I got it.
You got it.
He was paid by someone who was being harassed by someone in the Harmonium, and he's just like, I need you to take him out for me, and he totally complied with it.
So somebody hired you to take out one of the hardheads, and you did.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, that kind of thing goes on in Sigil. Works for me.
I'm so happy with our party.
And Mahogany, what is your profession in Sigil? How do you make a buck?
I'm a craftsman. I work in I sell driftwood sculptures, and then also if someone wants something to last for like a really long time, and like an heirloom, basically, you go to the guilds. If someone wants a bunch of shit put up in a weekend, you go to Mahogany.
Okay. In that case, you probably get a fair bit of work from the Fest Hall, because they're constantly doing parties and events and need a lot of just quick and dirty construction work. So that being said, we're going to say that you're not a sensate yourself, but you have a contact in the sensates that you get a lot of these contracts from. Who is that person?
Let's say it's an organizer for... How often would there be like a party thrown for like someone moving up within the sensates or something like that?
Constantly.
Yeah, an organizer for things like that.
They create new ranks just to do that.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to good old fantasy name generator here.
I like to think that
I was just
Nodal is that guy from Office Space, the neighbor, Peter's neighbor, the guy who's putting up the drywall at the new McDonald's.
Basically, it wasn't a good party if everything Mahogany made isn't broken by the end of it.
Okay, your sensate contact, his name is Yoriver. He's a low-level worker in the sensates, an organizer. His job is whenever some like not the really high level hoity-toity aristocrats, but whenever somebody comes to the fest hall to organize an event out elsewhere in Sigil that requires that kind of construction, you're one of the people that your river goes to. That being said, McDohl, who did hire you to assassinate this hardhead? Or do you know who it was?
I don't know.
You don't know, okay.
Myself, I don't know.
Names just cause problems.
Does the Aasimar know?
Haven't decided. Nah, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know, okay.
No, he should know.
He should know?
He should know, yeah.
So who was it? Come back.
Someone higher up in the Hall of Records.
So
Higher up bureaucrat.
So somebody higher than you
Yeah.
came to you and said, hey, there's this one particularly nosy member of the Harmonium, and business would go smoother if he was bumped out.
Mm-hmm.
So this hardhead that you bumped, was he corrupt? Or was he just really obnoxious in festivities?
Really obnoxious. Super, super obnoxious.
Okay. Let's go to Fantasy Name Generator and figure out this guy's name.
Okay.
Look up half-orc names.
His name was Torier. I got that from
Courier?
the Norwegian name generator.
Torier.
So Toyer is one of your bosses. I mean, you have a lot of bosses working at the Hall of Records, but Toyer is one of them. And so what you know about Toyer is he also makes a little money on the sly by letting deals go through that aren't strictly speaking legal, but because they're in his particular jurisdiction, and he lets them go through. And this hardhead caught wind of it, and he just decided this was the easiest way to bump him off. And hey, you're a big, strong, strapping lad. Maybe you can do a little something. So you have that rapport with Torier. In the
No one
Faded
suspects
Hour.
the Celestial. It's fine.
Yeah, of course.
Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Is your character?
Yes.
What were you saying?
Oh, I was just my character has a name now.
Has a name. Okay, let's hear it.
Calivia is her name. Her stage name is Riot,
I like it.
and she is currently crashing with her bandmates in the Poets of Distortion.
Poets of
Distortion.
I love it.
Yep.
I love everything about it.
No one would ever guess that she's an anarchist.
Oh well,
Okay.
everyone knows Riot is an anarchist. Everyone knows that.
Right, exactly, yeah.
So, does Riot have
Perfect.
any close ties to anybody? Friends, family that she's close to?
No family. She doesn't really know. She knows. I mean, she knows who her parents are, but she split like at a very early age.
Okay.
Got fed up with them. She's close to her bandmates. At least her current ones.
Now, does that change every so often? Like, will you eventually drift away from the Poets of Distortion and end up drifting?
Oh yeah, I have in her personality traits that she's quit 16 bands already.
Okay. So, fair to say that there's no really close ties then. She's a
There's close but temporary ties.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. And Ciclon,
Yeah.
what kind of ties do you have?
None really.
None. Why not?
Because he leads this dual life that he really can't really form close personal ties with anyone. Like, he's got one or two people he works with normally in his performance line of work, but
Now, does he purposely keep from making those kind of ties?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And McDohl, what about you? I mean, you're the Burke without a past, so
Mm.
clearly no family, but do you have any other ties in Sigil?
No. It's all super. If anything that he might have is all superficial, and be really easy and okay with just cutting ties with if necessary.
Do these people believe they have close ties with you? Like, do these people believe, like...
Yeah.
Okay, so you just keep them there. Now, these are friends, acquaintances, coworkers?
Acquaintances, coworkers.
What I'm hearing is, when we get into a combat situation, he done got your back. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, if we're overpowered.
Aasimar, I need to be healed.
And Serenity, do you have any close ties?
Her gnomish adopted family back home.
And how extensive?
Very fond of them.
How extensive is this gnomish family?
It's probably a full clan. I'd say there's probably 30 or 40 of them at least.
Okay. Does this clan have a name, or should I generate one?
Go ahead and generate one.
All right.
I'll say they're mostly rock cutters with a couple of, mostly miners with a couple of gem cutters. But she tries not to really. She didn't fit in there, but she's very grateful for them for having raised her, and she loves all of them. So This is like perfect for the villain to dangle over a lava pit or whatever. Necessarily very relevant to the story.
So you were a foundling of the Manric clan.
Okay.
Which is a large gnomish family, and they are primarily rock cutters, miners.
Yep, miners with some gem cutters, and part of the reason she didn't fit in there was literally she is 6'10".
Fair enough. Now, Mahogany, this wizard that made you out of a table, is he still around?
No, he's dead.
He's long dead. Do you have any other close ties anywhere?
He got killed by some kind of horrible thing at a town outside of the Beastlands.
Right, it's like, who knows, right? Lurking in the shadows.
Lurking in the shadows.
So what other ties does Mahogany have?
I'm thinking just within the guild. What? So the Ciphers would probably have some sort of, like Destil said, there's like a bunch of, adventurers and stuff within the guild.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking Mahogany likes to meet with them every so often, even though he does not do much adventuring himself.
Okay.
Just because he likes hearing about the stories.
Ciphers don't tell a lot of stories. They tend not to reminisce very much. Because they're all about...
Live in the moment?
Yeah, they're about live in the moment, action without thought. Looking backwards is folly kind of thing. That doesn't mean you can't have close ties in the gymnasium, though. I mean, there's lots of people in and out of there all the time. Of which one is Serenity. So let's put a pin in this. Do Serenity and Mahogany know each other, and if so, how well? Since you're saying that Mahogany spends time in the gymnasium, and you have ties there, and Serenity is in and out of there all the time as a planner explorer. So what is it like when your paths have crossed?
I'm thinking that Mahogany is considering becoming a planner explorer.
Okay. So
because he's starting to feel like he doesn't, he's not currently living his correct life.
You don't think about that, you just do it. Just start living your correct life.
Exactly.
That's the only thing Serenity would say to him.
Well, and that might be one aspect of how Mahogany is a cipher, because not every cipher lives that philosophy every moment. Lots of ciphers struggle with it. Is it fair to say that's something that Mahogany struggles with? Maybe because at one point his brain was a plank of wood that was in one place for millions of years?
So, for reference here, the concept I'm going with is that Serenity's Barbarian Rage, she doesn't get angry or yell, she just becomes very quiet, and it's overcoming your inhibitions and simply acting in the moment.
That, in the Planescape material, they call that an action trance. Which is essentially, yeah, we'll just call that your action trance, where you just become one with the planes for a moment, and just your body knows how to act.
Yep, she doesn't have to think. She's just getting in the way, trying to tell her body what to do.
Okay. So, Mahogany, you have a couple of friends that you get together with from time to time, other faction members. So my next question is, why did Mahogany join the Ciphers? Was it because you sought the faction out because the philosophy appealed to you, or did you fall in with these people first and then see that they were part of this group and then decide to adopt the group for yourself?
It was the philosophy.
Okay.
And it's because Mahogany's ideal is that there's one perfect state of being for everything.
Now, there's no shortage of like volunteer work that needs done in the various faction HQs. Does Mahogany do anything like that?
Sure. Yeah.
Riot. Does your character maintain any kind of presence outside of Sigil?
No.
Sigil born and Sigil bred. Okay.
Yep.
Ciclon, what about you?
No.
None. Real easy, just knocking these ones out. The name was Aasimar.
No.
None. Nice. Okay, going right through here. Serenity has family on Bitopia and is a planet explorer. Anything outside of that? Any kind of presence anywhere else on the plains outside of Sigil?
Maybe some contacts with some various caravan guards or caravan traders, just because she's worked with them a couple of times before. She doesn't really care, but they generally respect her after the first time they work with.
Okay. Now, do you stick with caravans and traders in that area of the Outlands that services the roads leading to gate towns on the upper plains? Is that...
As long as I pay first, she doesn't care.
Have you ever worked routes on the lower plains?
Once or twice. She's not entirely sure that's within her capabilities, but she has done it.
Okay. And have you ever done routes, like, the really, really dangerous ones? Like a route along, like, pulling down the river Styx?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. And what about Mahogany? Do you have any kind of presence outside of Sigil?
Outside of Signal, no, not a presence, but when Mahogany does spend time outside the plains, or outside of Sigil, it's always in the Beastlands.
So now and again, you take you're a frequent visitor of the Beastlands.
Just to get your head on straight.
Right. Now, just traveling to the Beastlands causes your character to manifest some kind of animal trait, like a rat nose or a lizard tail or some such like that. What is Mahogany's trait? Does Mahogany become more fish-like?
Is that temporary? Or is that just like a permanent thing once you leave, too?
It's permanent on the Beastlands. It manifests on the Beastlands, and when you leave, it goes away. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of people walking around with rat noses.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Okay.
Is there like a hard and fast rule that like, it has to be one thing? Because I'm thinking that since Mahogany's a druid, it'll be aspects of the character that he was last in wild shape of. It's not.
It can be overt or subtle, but it tends to reflect your personality more than your like mortal form. So like, if you had a spirit animal, it would reflect that animal, but it's the same thing every time.
Get back to me.
Okay. Everybody, all of you.
Yo.
We need a trinket. Everybody needs a trinket. You can either roll on the trinket table in the PHB.
I will.
Okay. Or you can come up with something yourself. Personally, I am going to go to the bathroom. And while you guys are doing that...
I am going to roll on the trinket table.
What page is the trinket table on?
They're all fantastic.
No, I'm totally rolling on the trinket.
What page is that table, so you guys know? And then, so I'm going to be back in about 2 minutes. I'm going to hit the bathroom and refresh my Pepsi. And hopefully when I come back, everybody's got a trinket.
You just search for trinket.
It's on 161.
Thank you.
silver teardrop earring made from a real teardrop.
That's silly. You said 161?
161, yeah.
I'm gonna roll again, and it's just because it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
What'd
I'm
you
thinking
land
of
on?
doing the same.
An iron holy symbol.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
For Druid.
Trinketed. There we go. All right.
What?
Okay, this makes a lot more sense to me.
What was your first one, Nick?
My first one was a gold monocle frame without the lens, but that didn't make sense to me because I would have donated that to somebody. Because it's a gold frame, you can melt that down and it's worth something to somebody. So because of the Revolutionary League thing, I didn't feel like I could have that. But the next one made a lot more sense, which was a fragment of a beautiful song written as musical notes on 2 pieces of parchment.
I got a wooden box with a ceramic bottom that holds a living worm with a head on each end of its body.
Did I drop out of tabletop?
Yeah,
Yes.
looks like you did.
Son of a biscuit.
A silver badge in the shape of a 5-pointed star. Okay.
You're sheriff. Why
Man,
the hell
trinkets are
is
terrible.
my mouse? Whenever Tabletop Simulator has focus, it's like drifting up to the top right corner and hitting the exit button. Oh my god, what is this? My mouse is like evil now. It's possessed.
I'm really
Like,
disappointed.
It's only
I might
doing
just
it when-
lie to Brick and say I rolled a 79.
79.
It only happens when I'm in Tabletop Simulator.
I feel
No
like
one's
he's not
like-
going to care.
Yeah. 79 is the best one, though.
Oh my god, what is this? This is the craziest thing.
I think I'm gonna go with that. Yeah.
All right.
I think we all got 79.
You know what? I'm gonna restart Steam because
That's our first adventure.
this is ridiculous.
What's ridiculous? What happened?
My mouse is like whenever I start tabletop, like I got bumped out of Tabletop Simulator. I came back and now my mouse just whenever Tabletop Simulator has the focus, it's drifting up and to the right.
Neat.
It is just crazy town.
Riot. What is your character's trinket?
I actually did roll this.
Okay.
A fragment of a beautiful song written as musical notes on 2 pieces of parchment.
Doesn't really go with the whole metal vibe you've got going on.
And how did Riot come by this beautiful song?
I know where it fits in. Don't worry.
Okay.
She got it the same place that she got the obsidian guitar pick that came with her her spiv background, which
Okay.
was this was her mentor's legacy when she was learning a trade, learning how to these are things that she got from her teacher.
And who was her teacher?
I need to think more about that.
Okay. All right.
Let's say her
That doesn't make
teacher-
any sense.
Oh, sorry.
Her teacher was who?
Was a barrier lady with the sensates.
Okay, and how long has it been since your teacher shuffled off this mortal coil?
Let's see, how old am I now? I don't think I have an age listed for myself, so we'll say it's been 8 years.
Okay. Ciclon. What is your trinket, sir?
I'm rolling it right now. A 4-leaf clover
Just went
pressed
to the bathroom
inside
and
a
everything.
book discussing manners and etiquette. What the hell? I don't even know. I don't even
Where
have
on
the
earth
words.
did you get that book?
Hell if I know.
And why are you holding on to it?
I don't know. That is the weirdest thing. Like, I don't know.
Okay, well, think about that, and I'll come back. Name was Aasimar. What's your trinket?
A silver badge in the shape of a 5-pointed star.
And where'd you find that?
On the dead body of the hardhead.
Oh, okay.
He took it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That's a thing.
do you always... Now, is this the first assassination plot you've been a part of?
I don't know.
Did you keep a memento from it because it was your first, or is that just your thing?
Probably because I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with. It's his thing.
Oh, good.
That's his thing.
It's like this guy has a complete reaction to Eric in every single way. We have a serial killer in the party. I love it.
No, he's just Zook. Zook always took a souvenir.
That's true. Zook did. What is Serenity's trinket?
Serenity's is a silver teardrop earring made of an actual teardrop.
Whose teardrop is it?
She doesn't know. It was found on her when she was found by the gnomes.
Oh, so she was born with it, essentially. She was already with her.
Yeah, she was a small child. She wasn't infant. She doesn't remember anything before.
Okay. So is this the only connection Serenity has to wherever her origins were?
Probably.
What is Mahogany's trinket?
Alright, I found a wooden box with a ceramic bottom that holds a living worm with a head on each end of its body.
Did you roll that on the table?
Yes.
Or...
I rolled that on the table.
Oh my god. And what do you know about the nature of this worm?
I know that every living thing has a perfect form, but it's only up to that thing what that form is.
So what is this two-headed worm's perfect form? Like,
For all I know, that is it.
now where did you find this horrible box with this most terrible worm in it? How did you come
Well,
by
I made the box.
So the hinges aren't sitting on quite right, and it doesn't quite sit flush.
So did
when you close the lid?
Did you capture the worm somewhere?
I found it stranded on a rock.
Where at? Where in the multiverse?
Just on a cliff. In the
In
Beastlands.
the Beastlands?
Yeah.
So you kidnapped a worm from the Beastlands and built a prison for it.
Well, I'm pretty sure a bird dropped it there, because I
Okay.
don't see how a worm would have gotten onto that cliff.
How can you tell it's a head, though? Because, like, worms don't really have... Or does this worm have a face, like, on each side? That's horrible.
That's incredibly offensive, Brick.
You don't respect the perfect form of this worm, Brick.
I like to think this worm was once two people who entered the Beastlands together.
Mahogany, you take frequent visits to the Beastlands. Where is this portal that you use? What's the most common portal that you use?
Second. I'm thinking I should have seen this question coming.
Let me first explain a little bit about portals in Sigil. Portals need to be opened with portal keys, which can be literally anything. Portals in Sigil are not regulated or controlled by anyone. Anybody who tries to regulate, control, or bar portals in Sigil gets on the bad side of the Lady of Pain. So you're never going to find a situation where, like, there's a portal in the back of this inn, but you've got to pay the innkeeper to go and use it. That innkeeper would very quickly be flayed, which sometimes makes for inconvenient problems for, like, if a portal just happens to pop up in your establishment and people start using it, you really can't do anything to prevent that as the establishment's proprietor. It's just either time to pick up and move somewhere else, or just accept that you're going to have a train of people coming in and out of that portal. Depending on where the portal goes and how useful it is, it could be a problem or it could be a boon to your business, or any stage in between. So nobody controls portals in Sigil. At one point there was a temple to the god Aasimar, who was the god of portals, and he had a great following in Sigil. And the Lady of Pain smashed the temple, killed all the followers, and Aaskimar's godly body was shunted out to the astral, and the Githyanki built a castle on it. And now that shattered temple is the faction headquarters of the Aethar in Sigil. Because essentially the Lady of Pain killed this god because he was doing shit with portals in her town, and she didn't like it.
Alright. I'm going to say that the portal that I regularly take is the worm. And the way I found it out was that the portal opened up, or the other side of the portal opened up once I picked up the worm. And where it comes out in Sigil is underneath the legs of this rearing horse right here.
That might actually already be a portal somewhere else. I'd have to check. But that's fine. So what we're going to say is that the worm itself is the gate key, is the portal key.
Right.
A portal always opens in an archway or a doorway of some kind. Portals don't just open up in empty space. So we'll say that the portal end on the Beastland opens up in a place where...
cave.
On this cliff. Okay, a cave face at the side of the cliff. This also does mean that some planes are just more prone to having portals than other. Like, very few portals go into Limbo because it's not very often that an archway forms in Limbo, and when it does, it doesn't stay there for long. But places like Arcadia that have a lot of man-made structures and a lot of doorways will have more portals going in and out. So that worm is the portal key, and you go through the horse's crotch. Okay.
Right.
I like it.
I go through the horse's crotch to get to the furry realm.
Yep.
Did we figure out where Ciclon found his book of etiquette?
It was a gift from a family that it wasn't really more the book; it was more the 4-leaf clover, as a sign of luck for him.
Who was the gift from?
One of the poor families that he did some odd jobs for.
Now, was this in addition to payment or in lieu of payment?
This is in addition to payment.
So why do you hang on to it? What kind of value does it have to you?
Just because the kids were fun to hang around with.
Are those kids still alive, or did they grow up?
Yeah.
Or what happened?
Yeah, they're still around.
Okay. Now, was this book gifted to you because this family thought you could learn a thing or two about etiquette?
No, it just seemed to be the first thing that was laying around.
Okay.
It was a book they didn't care about.
Yeah.
Did they know that there was a clover inside?
Yes.
Or is that something they knew?
Yeah,
it was in there?
the kid pressed the clover into the book.
Do you have any idea where the clover came from? It clearly didn't grow in Sigil. Or is that a mystery?
No idea.
No
That's
idea.
a mystery.
Why didn't it grow in Sigil?
Nothing grows in Sigil except for razor vine.
There's trees over here.
Probably statues.
We're at...
The Hall of Records.
Oh, those didn't grow there. They were transplanted.
Okay.
Those were brought in from someone else by landscaping firm. And they probably require a large amount of maintenance to keep alive, if they're alive. No, nothing naturally grows in Sigil except for razor vine. In fact, a lot of people think that's one of the Dabus, their number one job is Sigil, is just to keep the razor vine at bay.
Sigil sucks.
Riot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, McDohl saying something?
Yeah, I have a name.
You have a name! Brilliant.
Excellent.
Kelian. Kelian.
Brilliant.
Hmm?
Let me paste that into every place in my document that I just have an asterisk.
Wait, he killed Ian?
I think he said he was Seth Kelian.
Kelian.
Yeah, yeah, like I said.
Riot. You are
Yeah.
at it good. what is Riot's outlook on chaos, and what is Riot's outlook on good?
So, as far as chaos goes, she considers chaos, the ideal state of chaos is leaderlessness. No one telling you what to do, no law imposed on you from above.
Okay.
And the ideal state of good is is helping anyone less fortunate than yourself. Like, good is helping people out from under the thumb of authority, which is the root of all evil.
So in Riot's mind, law and evil are the same thing, or two sides of the same thing?
They're essentially the same.
They're essentially the same. You would really not like Beator.
No, probably not.
If Riot was in our world, would she say that taxes prevent people from donating on their own accord?
Ciclon,
Yeah.
you are lawful good. What is
Yep.
your outlook on law, and what is your outlook on good?
Well, actually, I'm actually thinking about changing that to chaotic good because lawful doesn't really fit with the thing.
Can I answer Nodal's question?
What was the question?
He was saying, like, if she was in our world, would she think that taxes are evil? Which is an interesting question because as a member of the Revolutionary League, she pays taxes. So, like, 90% of her stuff goes toward the cause. So, no, not necessarily that at all.
But do you pay your official taxes? I mean, you don't own anything in Sigil. You may, or...
Not really. Yeah. No one, like tax collectors. It's hard to find her.
Well, let's say that a tax was passed in Sigil on 80s style punk hair products. Like, what would be your outlook on that tax? Would you pay it knowing it's a necessary evil, or would you rebel against it and, like, dump a bunch of hair products into the river?
The only thing that grows in Sigil is 80s style hair products.
It's because they keep getting dumped all the time now.
Yeah, we need to.
It would really depend on how she was feeling that day, but I would lean more toward dump it, or avoid paying the tax.
Okay. I'm going to come back to Ciclon.
Okay.
Let's go to Kelian. What is Kelian's outlook on good and evil? Since he's neutral in that regard, does he feel like good and evil are things that exist and he has to strike a balance, or does he just not care?
Good and evil are means to an end. So,
and is that end chaos?
Yeah. The concept of law is prohibitive and preventive, and that does not jive with him.
So do you hold chaos as like a high ideal to strive to, or is it just a way to kind of describe your personality?
Sorry, say that again? You sort of broke up there.
Is chaos a high ideal that you strive to in your life, or is it just a convenient way to describe your personality?
A convenient way to describe personality.
Okay. So why is Kelian drawn to, or maybe that is why. Is that why Kelian is drawn to, say, the Fated rather than the Chaos Men?
Yeah.
Okay. What does Kelian think about the Chaos Men?
There's two ways I can go with it, I guess.
Does Kelian consider himself chaotic?
He does. He's chaotic neutral.
Yeah, he does.
Because the Chaos Men in Sigil, they don't have an official function. they basically just get on everybody's nerves all the time. You can never predict what they're going to do. They do tend to stay localized more to the hive, simply because everybody else kind of pushes them back there. Sometimes their chaos manifests as revelry. Sometimes it manifests as violence. A lot of times you can't even understand what a chaos man is saying. They talk in word salad.
I don't know. Let me think about that.
Okay. All right, so Serenity. What is Serenity's view on law and chaos? Since you're neutral good, how do you feel about the other ends of that spectrum, since you're neutral in that regard?
She doesn't concern herself with it too much. She mostly just cares about doing good.
Okay, and what do you consider doing good?
Helping the weak and the less fortunate.
And any means by which to do that is correct?
Yeah, as long as it's done correct. I mean, the means are not really all that relevant.
So Serenity doesn't concern herself with striking a balance between lawfully and chaotic. Okay.
She would happily steal a piece of bread to give it to a starving person.
All right, Mahogany. What is your outlook on good and evil?
Mahogany doesn't really see good and evil, because one person's good is another person's evil.
So good and evil are relative. They're interchangeable?
Exactly.
Can you give like an example of that? Like something Mahogany has seen in his life?
Just as an example, to go off of Destil's, whereas his character would steal bread to give to a starving person, Mahogany doesn't know whether or not that the lack of that bread would leave the person to strive harder and be able to gain their bread on their own accord. And by stealing the bread from the baker, how are you to tell whether or not they're going to be able to make bread tomorrow if they don't have the coin from the original bread?
So what Serenity would see as a good act, you see also has the potential to create evil in another manner of speaking.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, where does the chaos come from?
I decided to go with neutral.
Just straight up neutral, okay?
Yeah.
So then what is Mahogany's outlook on law and chaos? Is it kind of the same as
law? That people that describe themselves as lawful generally benefit from those laws, and that people that describe themselves as chaos are generally only pushing back against laws that they find themselves encased in.
Okay. And is that like a deeply rooted feeling that Mahogany's always had, or is that something that he's just observed living in Sigil? Because that definitely happens every day in Sigil.
That's a something that Mahogany's observed, and also it's a deeply held belief.
Okay.
He basically thinks that somebody who is chaotic would say that they believe in one thing because it's against the laws of that nation, but then if the thing got changed to how they say they want it, they might want something completely different.
Okay.
I think I may have an answer for you, Brick.
I might too as well.
Hold on just 1 second.
Sure.
Alright, Ciclon, are we sticking with chaotic good then?
No, I'm going neutral good instead.
Neutral good, okay. So what is Ciclon's outlook pertaining to law and chaos?
That laws like Nodal was saying, that laws can be perverted, or who was it that said that laws can be perverted to benefit those who make them?
That was Nodal said that, yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that he trucks with, but at the same time, chaos also brings anarchy and mess and that kind of thing, and that's just not good for anyone.
And so, what is Ciclon's outlook on good?
Well, that charity and doing good things for other people, especially those less fortunate, is probably the most important way to live your life.
Now, when Ciclon does odd jobs around Sigil, does he seek out jobs that give him that fulfillment?
Yes.
Okay. And I asked Kelian about the Chaos Men.
Yeah. It changes on what their purpose is. The concept of pure chaos, because it says in the box set PDF that they find beauty in the chaos. That's not something Kelian ascribes to.
Okay.
It's much more of a means. It goes back to his ideas of means to an end. The concept of chaos in of itself being beautiful or good, it does not jive with him. So it depends on what their goals are, on what they do.
Okay. Did anybody else have anything else to add about the alignment? I know that was kind of a real talk kind of question, but I took a lot of good notes. Does anybody have anything else to add? Or should I move on?
No, you're good.
I'm good.
Next question. A mighty knight accosts thee and demands thy food. Dost thou valiantly refuse and engage the knight? Or sacrifice thy food unto the hungry knight? A couple of you got that reference. God bless you. No, that was the end of the questions.
Was that was that Ultima, or is that actually in?
That's Ultima. Which virtues, guys? Which virtues?
Fucking fine now.
See, I got sexy when I answered my personality questions.
I never played the
you're
Ultima
always
games.
sexy.
That's a completely different game.
Okay. So hopefully going through these questions gave you guys some ideas on how to fill in your personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws.
Yeah.
So let's start with flaws, because I think flaws are the most interesting. What are Riot's flaws?
Were we supposed to pick more than one?
No,
I
you can
forget.
however many you need. I mean, you want to sum it up in a line or two.
Yeah, so it is summed up, and in intention with her her ideals and beliefs, is her flaw is I don't trust anyone but me not to fuck everything up.
So is that kind of more of a punk rock way to say that if you need something done, do it yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that would just be an ideal. A flaw is that I see you doing something and it's like, no, wait, let me.
You can do it
Because
better.
you're not going to do it right.
Okay. What about Ciclone? What is your flaw?
I have a couple.
Just sum it up in one or two lines.
Basically, bounty hunters are actively following my trail.
So you're going with a more material flaw, like something actively bad is happening to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are these bounty hunters and why are they hunting you? What did you do in the past that caused a bounty to be put on you?
Well, Ciclon has some knowledge of a Dow Prince that would make that would do something awful. I haven't really fleshed that out. I leave that to you.
Okay.
But Ciclon has some kind of knowledge that would cause problems for this Dow Prince, and that's why they're hunting him down.
Are you saying Dow Prince?
Yeah, is it pronounced differently? Am I?
I don't know what a Dow is. Oh, a Dow. Okay, like an Earth genie.
Earth element. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's not a person you want hunting you.
Yeah.
The elementals. Okay.
And the only reason they haven't caught up with him after years is that he's careful to cover his tracks fairly well.
And what is Kelian's flaw?
Apathy. He doesn't understand. His view in life is very binary. He sees things he wants. He works towards getting them, and he will make progress towards getting them. He doesn't. So in turn, he doesn't understand why people would sacrifice, why people would give charitably, why people would help others.
So is there like a single-mindedness to his achieving his goals? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you actually write on your sheet? How did you summarize that in one sentence?
I wrote apathy.
He didn't write anything.
Apathy.
He
That's
left it blank.
succinct.
Couldn't be bothered.
What is Serenity's flaw?
There is only now. Serenity is not going to spend time with unnecessary planning, which is basically most and all planning. And she could be doing there's something that she could be doing instead right now to solve the problem. Like, there's also, she's not going to wait around. She's not going to go with you to go stop a dragon from destroying this city when she can be fighting off orcs in this village.
So this is going to be interesting in the campaign because we all know that planning is a big part of 5e encounters, especially at high levels. But we have one character who doesn't want to plan, and we have another character who sees that first character as kind of a mentor. So planning is going to be an uphill battle throughout this campaign. That is a very interesting flavor for it to have. That's why we're doing the session 0, so I can take stuff like that into account. That'll be very fun. Okay. What's Mahogany's flaw?
Mahogany's flaw is sort of the same idea, but on a different spin on it.
Okay.
Which is, I'm not sure I'm doing this right. Basically, Mahogany gets really stressed out if he takes the time to think about anything for too long. Because if there's only one perfect way of doing things, how is he sure that he's doing everything perfectly right now?
Okay.
So the only way that he can feel at peace with what he's doing is to push himself into doing things quickly without thinking.
And how would you sum that up in one sentence?
I just stuck with, I'm not sure I'm doing this right.
Okay. There was, I forget if it was a publication or a fan thing, but there was a branch of the ciphers that never got anything done for exactly that reason. Because if there is only one thing that the Cadence of the Plains wants you to do at any particular time, then it's more beneficial to make sure you're doing that thing rather than accidentally do the wrong thing. Like, there's a whole branch of the ciphers devoted to that line of thinking. But I can't remember if it was in one of the Splat books or if it was like a fan thing that got written. Okay. Let's go with bonds next. What is Riot's bond?
I protect those who cannot protect themselves.
Well, mine is Daniel Craig, but...
I think that's right out the PHP, but it made so much sense for Calivia that I went with it.
And what's Ciclon's bond?
That I maintain the separation between the mask and the man behind it, and I cannot use that mask for personal gain.
Nice. And what's Kelian's?
He is good to his word, and when he takes on a task, he will fulfill it relentlessly.
What is Serenity's bond?
Come back to me. I have to figure out. No.
Okay. What about Mahogany?
Yeah, come back to me too.
Well, then we're just going to go back and forth between the two of you.
Well, I figured we could do something else for a second.
Okay.
I'm sorry.